Hey everyone, this is Pete. Welcome back to another installment of Sunday Driving with Capcom's 2002 racing game Modellista. Now, last time we got to level 4 in the Garage Life mode, and things started to get a little bit more difficult. So, I'm starting to think like the Yaris I've been using up until this point might not be the best choice going forward. So today we're going to experiment a bit with some other cars. So I'm going to park this car in storage, which allows us to save its current specifications and customizations, and then we'll try something else. So let's stick with Toyota for the moment. Let's have a bit of brand loyalty. Now I haven't entirely figured out what all the stuff on the screen here is actually telling us. I have a feeling the letter we can see on the left hand side is sort of the grade of the car, I guess. So the Yaris we've been using is a C rank car, which is understandable because it's a little hot hatchback. And the Supra we tried a few episodes ago as an A rank one, so that's much faster, but that didn't handle quite as well. Oh, I've actually just noticed that little triangular graph in the top right as well. Actually, yes, that does explain a lot, doesn't it? Because if we look at the Supra, it's ridiculously higher than pretty much everything else in most regards, except for handling. So that Celica there's got better handling. But the Supra appears to be sort of very much geared towards acceleration and maximum speed and so on. I think that is probably the best Toyota car we've got at the moment in that case. So we may as well go with this for a little while. Let's have a bit of a change. Let's have a black one. Yep. Enter a name for the car with the bizarre text entry system that they developed for this game. I know we have technically already had a Moe Mark II, but it was a Supra anyway, so and if I remember correctly, I gave Yumi a bit of love. Yumi being one of the Moe Gamer mascots. Not Yumi from Senran Kagura, before anyone complains at me for how overused she is. Right, let's take just a moment just to fiddle around with the car. Let's dress it up a little bit. We don't need to take too long on this. I said last time I'm not a big fan of the stripes, but I think on a car like this it can look quite nice. So let's have a nice stripe down the middle. Maybe change the colour of it if we can. Yeah, definitely. Line colour. Let's change that to just a nice white. Oh, so you can go full on with RGB sliders with colours. That's nice. Okay, so black car, nice white stripe. That'll do. Just done that, haven't I? Let's add a few customized parts. That's kind of cool. I like those original ones that we put on the Yaris. So those will do quite nicely here. Front bumper. Oh, that one, clearly. I know nothing about the technicalities of upgrading cars. I just know what looks nice, what I like the appearance of. So that's all I'm doing here. Give it a nice fat ass. And yeah, that one. stick with the stock rims for a minute. And we don't really have frowny face lights for this one. That's a shame. Let's go with those ones. Maybe just a nice sticker on the side. Go for some Capcom sponsorship again. Alright, that'll do for now. Let's see how we get on with the level 4 races with this new car. So... Now, last time we had a quick go at a level 4 race, and it is a series of races you have to deal with in this one, which makes the hill-based ones a little bit challenging because you've got to do an uphill and a downhill one, and you can only tune your car for one of them. Which, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what the best approach to that is. So let's try a different one for now. Let's try the highway one. Because that's by far the easiest course, so in theory we should be able to tune the car up nicely. For that, let's have lots of max speed and a bit of grip. Like I say, I remember from the last time we tried this, the actual handling on this car wasn't anywhere near as responsive as the Yaris, so we're going to have to take that into account, but let's see how we get on.
Let's play the game.
Loop Highway Masters Cup. Alright, so 2 races, presumably both on the Osaka Highway circuit. Two laps. So nothing too complicated. But the opponents are a lot more aggressive. Like consistently. It's not like the previous levels where there was maybe 1 or 2 of them were aggressive and then the rest would hang back. It seems that most, if not all of them, are getting pretty hardcore now. So but yeah, we are breaking away nicely with all the upgraded parts I've unlocked. Oops! Oh dear, that's not good. I haven't... Oh, that's how you do reverse. That was one thing I had a bit of trouble with last time. It was figuring out how to do reverse. You have to actually manually shift into reverse. Oh yeah, the cornering in this car is not good. Or perhaps I should just be braking a bit more. And not entering a corner at nearly 300 kilometers an hour. Alright, we're making up some lost time. We've got a whole other lap yet. And I'm clearly considerably faster than these other cars with the setup I've currently got. So, yeah, this is looking like the way to go. Corner. We've got some quite stiff ones on this bottom bit. Stiff. Try not to slam into the wall this time. So just ease off the accelerator and yeah, you can get around corners much more easily. So it's just an adjustment needed in your driving style rather than anything. Right, coming up. Ooh, too fast. I think we're okay though. Home free. That was definitely much easier than last time. So there's your answer. Get a better car and you'll win. Sort of begs the question, why are the in-between cars in there? But I guess you can sort of deliberately handicap yourself, or just for the joy of driving the other cars, I guess, just for the fun of it. See how they handle.
Keep rocking, baby.
Hard to say. We'll stick with the Supra for the minute and get a feel for it.
Osaka, 3, 2,
Alright, second round. Oh, I think we're going the other way this time. That would make sense. So it's all left turns this time. Be quite a hard left here, so let's slow down a little bit. There we go, that's how we handle that. So yeah, this is this game continuing to show that it's got kind of a nice balance between arcadey handling and actually having to pay attention to at least a few of the sort of fundamentals of, I don't know what you call it, racing theory, I guess. So if you remember back in the first episode of this, we looked at the email system in this game, which is mostly providing you with tips. So it provides you with a bit of information about how the different kinds of cars distinguish themselves from each other. So sort of FF cars, FR cars, four-wheel drive and that sort of thing. It gives you tips for the courses, but it also gives you general driving tips as well. So it gives you suggestions on the best ways to handle corners, things like the sort of slow in, fast out theory and that kind of thing. Which I think most people who play modern racing games are probably pretty familiar with by now, but remember this was 2002. We'd had 3D racing games for a good few years by that point, but there's still the chance that there were people who were less familiar with what we take for granted as common techniques in auto racing, if you're not familiar with the real world sport, either as a spectator or a participant. As I remember, before we had stuff like Ridge Racer and so on, I haven't actually looked into it to see what the very first 3D racing game was, as in the one that the first one that used polygon graphics, probably something along the lines of Virtua Racing or something like that. But yeah, the big adjustment was in the older racing games, things like Outrun, Pole Position and that sort of thing. You weren't actually turning, you were just moving from side to side on the road. And when you went around a corner, what the corner would do is it would sort of force you towards the outside of the track, and steering around the corner would sort of counterbalance that. And so that wasn't really a realistic depiction of how driving around a corner in a real car works. It was just, well, avoiding obstacles is what those games were about, basically. Okay, so we've got some unlocks. Probably decorate my garage a bit at some point, but we'll leave that for the minute. Alright, so that went without too much difficulty. Let us now try the Urban Masters Cup, which I guess is going to be on the Tokyo courses. So we go and retune our car for that. So we'll tune it for, yeah, Tokyo Area 1, because Tokyo Area 2 is the rainy one. We'll go for a bit more acceleration this time, because we're going to have a few more corners to deal with. And we'll have grip again. When we come to the hill courses, we will tune it for full acceleration and full grip. Keep keep pressing the wrong button. I'm playing so many different games at the moment, and some of them put cancel on the circle button, some of them put it on the triangle button. So I know it says on the screen here, but muscle memory gets the better of me sometimes.
Let's play the game.
Alright, what do we say? Urban Masters Cup.
Urban Masters Cup. Check it out.
So I wonder if this is going to do the street courses backwards as well. I guess it is. No reason why it can't.
3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, so we're going clockwise this time.
Go for it.
So we'll just check when we... oh dear. Yeah, definitely need... remember to slow down for the corners in this one, because they're a lot tighter than they are on the highway. As we've said, this car isn't anywhere near as nippy at going around corners as the Yaris is, so I'm going to have to adjust to that. There's a sharp right coming up. Oh, too fast. Oh, this should make for an interesting battle, at least. It was just a bit more fun when you have to actually fight for your position, because the if you noticed on that highway race we just did, after a certain point we were just so far ahead, there was just no competition whatsoever. Here we are dealing with probably a combination of a car that's not ideal for the conditions and my skills, which are also not ideal for the conditions. It'll be a bit more of a fight, this one. Faith I can manage it. There's a nice long straight just around the corner, so maybe we can get round without losing too much speed. He says, crashing into a wall. Right, floor it. Come on, I can take you. Maybe I can. Oh, oh no. Oh no. It's all gone wrong. It's all gone very wrong. Well, that was disastrous. But at least I know it was disastrous because of my skills this time rather than the car itself. So I just need to actually make sure I slow down enough for those corners. And we can recover from that.
Keep rocking, baby.
So now the question is, can I perform well enough in the second round to get enough points to still win? I doubt it somehow, but we'll give it a go. Largely because we don't have an easy means of just starting the whole tournament again.
3, 2, 1, go.
Alright. Yeah, we are going the other way. We're going counterclockwise this time. That's going to throw an interesting spanner in the works with these corners I haven't quite mastered already. Lovely long straight. Just after the start line this time instead of just before the finish line, so that's going to shake things up in an interesting way, I think. So slow down, take it easy, slow down a lot for that one, and for this one. Don't worry about him being in front, that's absolutely fine, because we can just open it up on this long straight here. That's the thing, it's easy to fall into the trap, especially with arcade racing games, that if you're not in first place, then you're not going to win. Well, I mean, that's a stupid thing to say, isn't it? If you're not in first place early enough, then you're not going to win the race. Whereas, in practice, what's more likely to be the case, especially in games that have a bit more of a sim element, is you're gonna have a bit more joshing for position, especially on corners, and especially when you've got cars that aren't identical to one another. So we can see here that my car is obviously very good on the straights, so it can pull away very nicely when it's got some space to play with, but it has to slow down a lot for these corners. And so that opens up the potential for people to overtake while I'm going around the corners, but then I know that because I perform so well on the straights in this car, I can probably catch them up pretty quickly. And the way the courses are structured gives you the opportunity to do that, so just getting into the right mindset. Yeah, there we go. Handle it correctly, you can win without too much difficulty. Right, is that enough? No. No, it is not. Alright, but we know we can do that now, so let's try that one again. We've set some good records, at least. So, no trophy for me, but a few unlocks.
Nice try.
Oh, no, that's not the one. What was it? Oh, that's a bronze cup it's put there. So, yeah, I have had third place in that, but I haven't won it yet.
Keep rocking, baby.
Alright. Let's correct that.
Tokyo 3, 2, 1, go.
Right. So the key, as we saw, making sure we bleed off enough speed before we reach the corner. That was a bad example, but we can do better from here. And as I said, don't have to worry too much if people get in front of us on the corners, because we can just open it up on the straight and pull past them. Hopefully. Yeah, there we go. Alright, brake. Yeah, whatever. Oh, poor. Apparently it's more difficult in this direction. At least it feels that way. Right, brake! Oh dear. Handling this very poorly. You do a handbrake in this as well. I'm not sure how effective it is for getting around corners. I'm always a bit wary of using handbrake in racing games, because it's never quite predictable in exactly how it's going to handle. There's some games you like tap the handbrake and it will immediately send you into a power slide, which is fine. But in other ones, especially the more realistic racing games, then yeah, the behaviour can be a little bit more unpredictable if you're not careful. I tend to avoid using it in most cases. Just rely on the normal brakes. Alright, that works for me, as long as I can get around this last bit. So, brake, plenty of time in advance. Don't you get past me. Oh no! Ah, shit. That was disappointing, I won't lie. We'll try it again.
Check it out.
As anyone knows, failure is just an opportunity to improve yourself. Or something. There's probably some famous quote about that. The point stands though. We learned something from all our mistakes. If you've been watching the Warriors Wednesday series, you will be very familiar with this concept. Alright, I think the thing now is balancing, making sure I'm not braking too much, so that I don't lose too much speed, and remembering not to accelerate until we've sort of actually got around the corner. Slow in, fast out, as they say. That's better. Yeah. You keep your foot off the accelerator, then you have a bit more responsiveness as you're turning around that corner. And once you're actually round the corner, then you can bang it back down on the gas. Got to hold true to that for another lap now. That was nice. That felt nice. That's good. Long straight. Let's enjoy this. And then panic over the last corners. Right, brake. And steer. And accelerate. And brake. And around. And we're good. There we go. Applying a bit of racing theory, or whatever it's called. Driving techniques, I guess. God, we saved like 3 seconds off our time by doing that as well. No, more than that. Wow, look at that. Yes, that makes a big difference then. Driving properly. Who'd have thought it?
Keep rocking, baby.
Right. Now we have to just do the same thing, but the other way. Early lead, always nice. So I was a little bit worried that the relatively limited selection of tracks in this game might hurt its longevity a bit, but so far I'm getting the impression that sort of the different levels and the different ways it structures the events is where a lot of that longevity comes from. And then of course there's the whole thing that you can then focus on the collecting of the cars and the customizing your garage and drawing knobs in the paint shop, that sort of thing. So I think despite the sort of relative lack of places to drive, there's still plenty to do, which is good. Like I say, the reasonably significant jump in difficulty with each level as well makes even the races on the same courses feel quite different. So like, I've driven around this course quite a few times by this point, but having to do it in this new car against these souped up opponents is making it feel like quite a different experience. And that's quite an important part of sort of the arcade experience in general, I think, whether it's arcade races or just arcade games generally, things like shoot 'em ups, beat 'em ups, fighting games, that sort of thing. There is a limit to how much content you can put in your game, but that doesn't necessarily have to limit how much someone can enjoy your game, if you see what I mean. So there's a difference in how much sort of physical content, how many bytes of data there are, and it's not physical, is it? Digital, whatever. But yeah, there's a difference between sort of the numerical value of all of the things in your game. You say this has, what, 8 race courses or whatever. And then the application of that, the way those are implemented, all the different events that are provided using that relatively limited selection of resources. That's a very arcadey thing to do.
Congratulations! You got a prize!
Oh, we got some new parts as well. Tune up the engine even further.
You made it!
Oh, we unlocked level 5 as well. Very nice. Wonder how far this goes. Guess we'll find out. I haven't checked my mail for ages. I'm just going to go and have a quick look in there just to see what we've got in here. All races beyond level 3 are series. You must race on multiple courses, and the points you earn will be added to determine your ranking. Yeah, we know that already. Okay. That's fine. Nothing too interesting there. Oh yeah, so that's what we were just talking about. So, FF and four-wheel drive cars which are not good at drifting, it's important to drastically decelerate before entering corners because you're using the grip on the tyres to get around rather than actually sliding the back end out. So you see, this is what I mean by what the mail function offers. It gives you a bunch of tips that might come in handy. Might not. One or the other. Alright, let's tune up our car. Let's try one of these hill races again. Let's tune it for the uphill variant, because that will give us a bit more power. But a lot more acceleration, lots of grip. And we'll see what a disaster this is.
Let's play the game!
I tuned it for Rocco Hill, didn't I? So it's this one.
Rocco, Masters Cup. Check it out!
And we'll make this series of races the last thing we do for today. We'll polish off level 4 next time. And take a peek at level 5. Which I'm a bit scared about. And if I've had to go all the way from a C rank car to an A rank car to be competitive in level 4, I'm interested to see exactly how tough level 5 is going to be. This is going to be an interesting race because I suspect this is probably not a good car for this job. I probably want to be specifically looking for something that can drift. Always better cornering in general. But yeah, this does not feel like it. Ouch. You know what, I'm going to ditch that for a sec. And I'm going to try something else.
Nice try.
Time to try another car. Right, so we'll park this one, because that's doing quite nicely in certain situations. That's doing fine on the street races, certainly. Now, I believe we've got some stuff like an impreza. That sounds like it would be good. That one looks like a better variant. Okay, let's give this a go. It's got to be blue, hasn't it? Because, you know, it's the law for Subaru Imprezas to be that colour. And, of course... Oh, no. Mark 3. Do I have enough letters for Midori? Let's find out. Not sure I do, actually. No, not quite. Oh well, it'll have to be Midori then. Sorry, Midori, please understand. Right, tune up the car. Rocky Hill uphill. Lots of acceleration. Ooh, Now, do we want drift on this? Because the Impreza is a rally car, isn't it? But it's probably a four-wheel drive one. How do we look at the car specs? That's just our status, isn't it? I just want to see the specs. Confirm this is a four-wheel drive car. I'm pretty sure it is. Well, okay, let's work on that assumption now. So I just save you having to watch me wander around the menus for a bit. So we'll go for acceleration and we'll go for grip again. Because if it's four-wheel drive, that's what we want. Does it say on here? Ah, spec, there we are. Yeah, four-wheel drive. Okay. Done it again. Wrong button.
Let's play the game. Una Rocco, Masters Cup. Keep rocking, baby.
Right, we'll see how much of a difference this makes. I'm hoping a lot. Otherwise I'm going to struggle with these ones.
3, 2, 1, go!
Ooh, that's much more responsive. Still not quite as responsive as the Yaris was, but definitely an improvement on the Supra. Yeah, we are definitely having to slow down a bunch of these corners though. When I say it's a big improvement, you'll notice I'm still in last place. So, although I think this car is better for the job, I haven't quite mastered handling it just yet. Still wondering if it might be worth specifically seeking out a drift heavy car for this. Just because the sheer number of corners. Can't be good to have to keep losing this much speed. Yeah, so I mean, the actual power we've got from the upgrades and the fact that this is a good car is next to useless on this course. Oh well, we'll stick it out and then we'll try something a bit different next time in that case. So what are they driving? They're driving Lancer Evos. A Skyline, that's a Nissan, isn't it? Okay, well maybe we'll try one of those next time. I want, isn't a Lancer a rally car as well? So surely that's a four-wheel drive one as well. Maybe I just need to tune it for drift.
Check it out.
This is where my lack of car knowledge is letting me down, I guess. Alright, well let's do the hill climb and see how we get on. Oh. Oh. Oh no. Oh no. I feel I've made some poor life decisions. Oh, I hate everything. Life is suffering. It's not something you hear a lot of Impreza drivers saying, is it? Well, maybe you do. I don't know. It's entirely possible that someone would buy a Super Impreza to distract them from the gaping void in their heart. Their life was meaningless and utterly bereft of meaning until they purchased themselves a Super Impreza and drove it up a hill. I don't know. If you find meaning in that, then fair play to you, wherever you get it from. I get mine from computer games. So who am I to judge? Oh. Cock. Well, that did not go so well. So we're going to have a rethink of that before next time, I think. But we will save that for another time, as I've taken enough of your time. So what I will say for now then, dear viewer, is thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please help out the channel by leaving a like or a comment and subscribing. Be sure to check out moegamer.net for new articles on Japanese and Japanese-inspired video games, new and old, every weekday. Every month, Moe Gamer features an in-depth exploration of an individual game or series as its cover game, so be sure to check the archives to see if your favourite has had a deep dive yet. If you'd like to support the site directly, please consider becoming a patron or buy me a coffee. You can find links to do both down in the video description. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.